now.
Hello, welcome back to another solo episode of just you and I hanging out on the Try and Stop Me podcast. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Colleen Blum. You can call me Kyle. If you hear anything outside, it is super windy tonight. It is crazy. So please bear with me with the sound of what sounds like somebody blowing probably into the microphone. But today, I really want to talk to you guys about something that, our solo time. What I always talk about is we don't know where the direction of the show is going to go. On our episodes with our guests, we talk to them about the journeys, their valuable life lessons that they've learned along the way. And then when I decided to do solo episodes, it was really to give you guys a deeper dive into my thought process, into sometimes background of my story. Eventually, will lead more into details of certain things, but really to understand that I'm still growing too. I am no picture perfect person. I still have a lot of flaws that I'm still working on, trying to better myself. And I'm doing that by reading books, by talking to people, by really opening up a lot more. And what better way to do that than to tell you guys what I've learned about myself through the weeks, because it is a journey, it is a process. As we grow, as we evolve, we are not going to become these picture perfect Gandhis of the world. But my hope is to be able to talk to you so that maybe it clicks with you. Maybe you had a bad week, or maybe you thought about the same bad thing that I thought about. And I think the way that I can be able to share with you what people that I truly find extreme value in, that I'm really reading on or doing the self development or the help, hopefully I can then relay that back to you guys. So maybe that you can take a piece of what I've learned and then implement it into your life. So, with that being said, this past week, whew, I don't know what was in the water, but something was in the water. It was a little up and down most days. It was some days were really great and you were on this like super positive train of you could touch the sky, nobody can get in your way. And then the next day you'd wake up and it was like somebody deflated your balloon. And I can't really even explain the highs and the lows of it because you're still reading, you're still doing all this work. It's just the moods. It could be winter, it could be that it's cold. It was a little gloomy throughout the week. And it's also as you start to do work, you're bringing up old shit from the past, right? So you're digging up all of this stuff that you're either writing down or you're talking about or you're letting out. And it starts to really, you're healing and you're growing and you're becoming a better person. But it kind of affects you some days. So sometimes for me, over the past week, as you guys know, I've been sharing more and more on social media, which as a Virgo, I'm kind of more of like an introvert. I am somebody who doesn't really like to show my life. I don't really like to go into a lot of personal details with certain things because I think sometimes there is beauty in some private stuff. But the more I talk on the show, the more I'm realizing I need to now invite you into my life. I need to, in pieces, in doses. You're not ever going to see me in the shower or, doing crazy stuff. Some things are definitely going to remain personal, but on the side of the things of the day-to-day stuff, going to the gym or at the office or just like saying I had anxiety the night before, stuff like that. Now, what does that bring me to? The whole point of this show today is really because I was reading a book and talking to really great phenomenal people that I think of them as some of my closest role models, and they're just inspiration to me. I have great friends that I could be able to pull myself out of the gutter when I'm feeling certain ways. So what we really dove into this week that hopefully can help you guys out, it really all comes down to one thing, right? Like I thought the entire week I was being insecure. Insecure about, oh my God, did I just say too much on that story about anxiety or feeling a certain way? Or am I like, I have that like fear sometimes to post like a gym selfie because I feel like somebody might judge you for posting a certain way or posting a certain thing. And you don't want to make people feel uncomfortable and you don't want to push people in the opposite direction to be like, oh, she's just trying to do something because she wants to be somebody type of thing. All of a sudden, you get super, super in your head and then it becomes like a paralysis and then you don't do it. And I think this comes into a sense for so many aspects of our lives. It doesn't have to necessarily be like with me, social media of sharing certain things. It comes into really our day-to-day things. When we're sitting around thinking, "Oh, I'm not good enough," or "Oh, I'm not worthy enough," or like those self-defeating thoughts or the insecurities that we talk about all the time. I think as females, or really people in general, a lot of us, we were kind of molded to think that we're supposed to feel a certain way about ourselves. We're supposed to beat ourselves up about certain things. We're supposed to not be confident, because being too confident, you come off as bitchy, or you come off as full of yourself, or you come off as kind of cold. But why can't we flip the script on that? Why do we have to continue this narrative that insecurity is better off than being confident? Because confident, you're too cocky. But if you're insecure, you're just like everybody else, because nobody's saying anything, nobody's doing anything, because everybody's scared of what everybody else is going to think. That is kind of like a brainwashed mentality that I think we all need to start flipping the script on. Because if we don't, we're just going to keep continuing to teach little girls or younger people, or just the generations to come, that this is the way it's supposed to be, that fear is supposed to come before ourselves, that judgment and feeling like we're going to get judged is supposed to come before doing what we want to do. So it stops us right in our tracks from actually being able to go out and get what we want, or go out and say what we want, or go out and post what we want. As silly as it may seem, the real ultimate problem is that we're quote unquote insecure because society kind of made us feel that way, that we should feel that way. So when I was having a really kind of off day, one day I was on it, like on fire, posting stuff, all of this, everything. And then the next day it was like I said, paralysis. I don't know what came over me, but I have two amazing, amazing friends. They're mentors to me. They're just incredible women that I can text within 30 seconds and I get a reply, just to be like, talk me out of my head. Talk me out of this. Was it too much that I said? Was it too much that I put out there? And they're always, of course, going to be on your side, right? Your friends, your good friends, your ride or die friends, the ones that are there, they believe in your dreams. They're going to always have your back. It's great to have people like that, to be like, girl, get out of your head. But the funny thing is, one of the girls actually texted us the same exact thing the day before. And my exact response to her, because you all know I'm all about positive, right? I want to make changes, I want to make shifts. But sometimes I'm not really like the lightest, fluffy one to come to for that stuff. I'm more of like, let's get it done. We got this. Like, no excuses. Try and stop us. We're unstoppable. Like, in your face. Let's get in your face about it. But, sometimes I'm like a little girl and I still get insecure. But anyway, so she had texted us the day before and was saying pretty much everything that I thought of the exact next day. But my response to her, when it's not me, like, we always give the best advice, right? But can we take our own advice? Most of the time, not, right? But so she had said, was it too much? Did I post too much? I'm all in my head right now. Just talk me out of it. And I was like, everybody needs to hear this message. Absolutely. That is what we're doing. That is what we're here for. We're just trying to change the way we are to help other people. That's really, at the end of the day, we're trying to step out of our comfort zones to show other people, show other women, show other people, whoever, that it's okay to take a step outside and show yourself and show your weaknesses and try to help other people, right? Because if we try, maybe it will help one person, and all that matters is helping at least one person. And I said that to her, right? But the funny thing is, the next day I had the same exact self-defeating confidence, nonsense, bullshit feeling. Like, you get this like utter stressful anxiety feeling inside your body, and it's so uncontrollable. And it was so frustrating to me that I had to text them and be like, what is wrong with me? Like, I was just so on fire yesterday with you being like, girl, get out of your head. Meanwhile, the very next day, I literally was all consumed in my own head. And when I get like that, I get cranky, right? And I don't mean to be cranky. And I don't, because now I'm just thinking too much in my own head, and it turns into like this spiraling snowball effect that just continues throughout the day, no matter how much you try. So, what did I have to do for it? First step, I had to text my girls. I needed to be able to snap myself out of this. And sometimes doing that is going to your closest friends that are on that same wave path as you, right? We talked about goals last week of always having people hold you accountable because for moments exactly like this, when you scare the bejesus out of your own self for no good reason, it's not a big deal, right? We're putting ourselves out there. If somebody doesn't want to watch it, who cares? It's not that big of a deal. But sometimes in the moment, even though we know how small of a little thing it is and that not many people will probably see it, you still freak out because you're making yourself vulnerable. So, what did it bring me to? Right? One, like I said, I text my girls, get me out of this state. I need to get that little kick in the ass sometimes to be able to, like, you told me yesterday that we're doing this and there's no fucks given. We're going to get out there. We have a message to spread. It doesn't matter what people think or what people say. We committed to this and this is our journey and this is the process of growing through that. And then what else I do is I go to podcasts, of course, like I've always said, or really books lately have been my thing too. So I've been reading a lot of Gabby Bernstein, and it's one of the books that she has right now. It's the Super Attractor, right? And something in the book, I'm always like a firm believer in like there are you pick something up or you read something or you watch a movie or you hear something and some kind of message will come through to you and it's going to make sense and it's going to make sense in that moment. And as I'm reading this book, the word ego kept popping up, right? And she started saying like insecurities necessarily aren't insecurities. It's more if we flip the script on things, it's actually ego. And I was kind of like mind blown because when you actually think about ego, right? Ego is about me. Ego is all about being concerned with what other people are thinking, or I'm better than everybody else, or this like big macho, better than other people type of mentality. But when you really, really dive deep into ego and mixing in insecurity, they're one and the same. It's more the ego is making you feel insecure because your insecurities are based, or at least speaking for myself, insecurities are based off of having that fear of I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy enough. What are people going to think about me? What is going to happen to me if I put this out there? What is going to happen to me if I'm in this situation? And everything in that whole scenario keeps reverting back to the word me or I. And that's exactly what the ego feeds off of. That's the ego's favorite word is me. So what I thought, and then I take out my journal, right? Because I think that's amazing to be able to write down certain things. If you don't have a journal next to your bed at night or in your bag or whatever, I think that's the most therapeutic way without actually going to therapy to be able to get stuff out that you're thinking of that you like compulsively keep thinking of. So I wrote down, we need to stop, or specifically me, needs to stop thinking of the word as insecurity as a safety net because it's not insecurity. I need to stop being insecure about certain things, about what the public will think, about everything that's going on outside that's going to affect me. And really flip the script on it to say that's not insecurity, where it's like that protected word. That's actually your ego. And the way we look at ego is like, that's a dirty word. That is like an evil word. Nobody wants to be called or be told that they have an ego because that shows that you don't care about anybody else. So if we flip the script, or at least for me, when I was writing, when I was flipping the script on the word insecurity and inserting ego, it made me feel so icky that I was like, what is wrong? That I think the whole world is going to have to revolve around my every single move, that insecurity of like going into the gym for the first time. I was there. I was so insecure about it, thinking that everybody was going to be looking at me. But that's ego. That's you thinking that people actually have the time outside of their day to day routine to stop and stare and say, oh, I've never seen that person in here before. Let me stare at her for 2 hours to make sure she knows I'm going to make her feel uncomfortable. That's not insecurity. That is ego. getting in and like being the devil almost, saying to ourselves, like, you're supposed to think everybody's going to think you're not shit. You're supposed to think everybody's going to judge you. You're supposed to think all this stuff. So why can't we flip the script on saying we're not insecure? That's our ego talking. And when we could say that, we could tell that ego to go, up the block, because I don't want to be associated with that word ego whatsoever. Self doubt and insecurities is your ego trying to scare you out of what you deserve. I want you to think about that again. Self doubt and insecurities is your ego trying to scare you out of what you deserve. And once you're able to start to recognize that, once you're able to start to pinpoint where you're being insecure, or where you're feeling less than, or where you're worried about judgment, you're able to actually flip the script on yourself, call yourself out in the moment, in the exact moment, whether it's at the gym, whether it's doing something for work, whether it's trying to put yourself out there for a new business venture, whatever the case is, or like dating, right? Like if you're insecure about things and moving forward, it is your ego, not an insecurity. Once you can recognize that, you can start to actively flip the script. We don't want that green monster. We don't want the ego, and that's like mixed with greed. So we want nothing to do with that. So if we can recognize these things about ourselves to be able to stop them in our tracks, that is the whole purpose of trying to move forward, growing up, learning how to evolve, how to better ourselves. That is what I'm going to really be working on in the next few months. Is it's not going to go away overnight, right? Like insecurities is not gonna be something that go away, but when I check it and really check it to say like, "Wait a minute, am I insecure, or am I jealous, or am I being like that little girl mentality? Is this something because of a past experience? Is this something because of something that I've learned in the past? Or is this something that like is ego driven? It's I care too much about what other people are thinking, what other people are saying." Once I'm really able to stop and think about that, I feel, and I'll have a journal at all times. I think I'm going to start doing that, is bring a journal around everywhere. I might become crazy, in the middle of wherever to just like write something down, but I think that's where your best ideas really come. So once I'm able to start recognizing and like pinpointing where I feel certain ways, then I'll be able to start to like really heal on certain things, because maybe it is something from the past that I am insecure on, right? Like who knows where it's coming from? But once I recognize it's the ego really trying to come up and rear its ugly damn head, then I'll be able to call it out and push it back down and have that support from our friends, have that support from our loved ones, or whoever is there for us. But that's what I really wanted to talk about today. I was insecure. I had to call myself out, and I did it by recognizing and not caring, one, that we still have insecurities. I've talked about insecurities on the show before, and I probably will 100 more times, because we're human, baby. Like, what are you going to do about it? There's nothing we can do about it. We're human, we're growing, we're learning. So that's what I wanted to share with you. That was my week. I had a really great week, and then I had a really shitty day. And that was why I had a shitty day, because I was in my head, because my ego literally took over my entire day. And my plan is to not to let that happen again. Like I said, it will probably happen in the future again, but instead of letting it consume my entire day, my entire mood, and then like letting this snowball effect happen, I'm going to start to learn how to stop it and recognize that is ego. And I don't need to be thinking about me. I need to be thinking about why I'm doing this. What is my why? Why am I here? Why did I start the show? I started the show to help that little girl self of me, or that younger version self of me, to be able to realize that there's a world out there. There is positive and there's change, and you don't have to be stuck in the situation that you're in, or you don't have to be upset all the time or really feel down on yourselves. I know it's funny to have these like self defeating memes. They're very funny. I get it. But at some point, like in our 30s or like late 20s or 40s, or whenever you're listening to this, it doesn't, it's not funny anymore to make fun of ourselves. And like the self-defeating jokes, they stop being funny, because you're really just talking to yourself like you're a piece of nothing, and you're not. You're worth way more than the funny stuff that you keep posting out there or you keep saying about yourself. And I want to be able to help, because I was doing it. So I want to be able to help people that are in that mindset, that need to be kind of reminded that you're the shit, and that you deserve love, and you deserve happiness, and you deserve to be free, and you deserve to feel light, and you deserve to love yourself. So on my journey of figuring out how to love myself, That is my why, is to be able to help that younger girl version of me. I was there. We're all probably there at some point in life. But if I'm going to continue this path and to be able to grow, I need to be able to share what goes on in my world, in my heart, in my life, to be able to say, that ego needs to shut the F up. And I need to keep rocking and rolling to be able to get out there to the masses, to be able to help someone. Cause all we want to help is one person. And then life will be just amazing. So that is all I got for you today. Next week, we are going to be back with a whole new episode of an interview. I can't wait to see you there. But I hope you enjoyed today's show. And like I said, when you have any insecurities, check on yourself. Is it an insecurity? Are we just bundling that up with a nice, pretty bow and putting some makeup on it and making it look cute? Or is that the damn ego? If it's the ego, tell the ego to shove it. That's my favorite thing to tell it to do. Insecurity, ego, whatever it is, you are a kick ass, badass person. Keep rocking it. You are unstoppable. And I will see you next week.